Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live this morning, and thanks for coming on with us. We appreciate it big time. And we'll say hello to a few friends here this morning as we get started. Who is number one, Brahim or Michael? It's Brahim. And Andrea, you're number two. How's that? You guys, I'm telling you, friend, how are you from Orangeville? Brahim says he likes my shirt. Yeah, it's my baseball shirt. Kevin, Sandra, good morning. Madeleine, Kippawa, Quebec, bonjour. Nick from our staff, good morning, Nick. And Rosalinda from the kidneys of Sandy from Vancouver, Washington. Crystal, Elaine, how are you? From Newfoundland. Karen, Indiana. Rita, good morning. Johan, how are you? Brahim says he umpires baseball. Hey, I love baseball. Jeanette, how are you? Lisa, and who's from Lakefield? I didn't see it. In West Virginia. It gets up into those clouds, and I miss it. Dave, Muskoka, and Diane, good morning. And Sue, how are you? From Bolton. Claudette, good morning. Rachel, how are you? And IT, Unionville. Beverly, good morning. And Nicole from Magog, Quebec, bonjour. Maria. And Sandy. And Georgie, no, there's Georgie. Georgie had a birthday this weekend. Well, happy birthday. Olga, how are you? And Dale, good morning. Yvonne from Petawawa. And I can't see. Elaine, how are you? And Marie. And Bonnie, how are you? From lovely London. And I don't know. I can't see them, guys. They're going up too fast today, and I missed them. Cheryl, I got you, but you see right behind you, I didn't see it. Gary. Michael, I can see it, but I can't see the name. Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. We sure appreciate you guys. Bobby, Kitchener. And Elaine, how are you? Okay, let's get going. We'll finish up these questions. Judy and Kathy. Okay, now, Patricia's asking about amyloidosis. And yeah, it's a rare disorder. That's usually when amyloidosis is when protein, it's a genetic thing. Protein accumulates in the tissue. Okay, it had nothing to do with eating protein. It's just that the protein accumulates in tissue, amyloidosis. And what would I do if you came into the office and you had this condition? Well, look, I would just make sure of all your systems, Patricia, put everything on your side. So I would lower all your inflammation markers. Make sure you don't have any leaky gut. Get rid of any yeast or fungus or heavy metals in the body by detoxing. I would have you do the reset, empty the liver. That'll bring your triglycerides down. Your HDL will go up. And like I said, look at the systems and generally see any deficiency. Sometimes, people don't even realize that they walk around, they have low levels of vitamin D, low levels of B12, and they don't know it because nobody told them. And they got leaky gut. Nobody told them. And, even when physicians take blood work, they're so focused in on some of the things that, well, I'm not saying blood work isn't important. I love blood work. But they usually look at things and they get hung up We've been talking about cholesterol derangement syndrome. Boy, there's been a lot of that. And Patricia, thank you for the question. Joanne, what can interfere or prevent the absorption of magnesium? Well, listen, anytime you don't have enough acidity in your stomach. I start in the stomach before I get to the bowel. Your stomach was made to be extremely acidic. Between 1.5, that's the best. You put a penny down in your stomach and it will dissolve. It is so acidic. But most people don't have enough acidity in their stomach. And without enough acidity, you're not breaking food down properly. Thus, proteins and fats and minerals are not getting broken down properly, including magnesium. That can happen. Now, in order for magnesium to be absorbed from food, stomach, small intestine, one of the things that can stop the absorption of magnesium is if you have SIBO. We like better at the Martin Clinic to call it SIFO, small intestine fungal overgrowth. Okay? That comes in when the Trojan horse gets there into the gut because of antibiotics. Probably the number one reason that people don't absorb magnesium properly. That can be a factor because it can create a fungal overgrowth in the small intestine. The small intestine isn't that small. It's actually quite wide. It's not long, but it's wide. And the reason is because you have an area of what we call villi. Remember what I was talking about? I like to use illustrations, and I'm showing people here a shag carpet. We don't see them much anymore, but they were really big in the 70s, okay? And maybe the 80s, but 70s for sure. People like shag carpeting. But your small intestine is supposed to be like this. And those shags are villi. And they absorb all your nutrients. These villi. Now what happens? Especially in autoimmune and that the villi are destroyed. And that can happen. Again, antibiotics, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, people that live on Advil and live on Tylenol and live on that kind of stuff. It can turn your shag carpet into a tightly knit carpet, a more modern day carpet. Okay? And that's all right for carpet, but it's not all right for your small intestine. This is what they usually find in any autoimmune. The carpet, I like this. Your small intestine got carpet bombed. What carpet bombs? All the chemicals, medication. I remember, you're going back well over 30 years ago, 35 years ago. I talked about leaky gut in chronic fatigue syndrome. I remember people thought I had two heads. I said, no, they got garbage coming in their blood. Oh, come on. No, I'm serious. They're loaded up because they have fungal yeast. What happens? Their small intestine got carpet bombed. And usually I don't know if I was the first guy to talk about the side effects of antibiotics, but I was one of the first guys. I was warning people 35 years ago to take probiotics. to replace that bacteria, to replace the shag carpet. They were getting carpet bombed. I like that. The more I think about that, I like that expression. Carpet bombed. And that's why we see so much autoimmune today. That's why people are walking around. I don't know. I've read this. 80% of the population is low in B12. 80% or more are low in vitamin D. And they're low in magnesium. Well, one of the reasons magnesium's not in the soil anymore. It's been stripped away with fertilization and pesticides and that. There's not enough magnesium today. So one of the big reasons for low magnesium is that, okay? And that's why most people need to supplement with magnesium. They don't get enough in their food. And when the problem with testing magnesium is that very little magnesium is in your blood. Very little. And so unless you were critically low, you couldn't see it. But, magnesium is an important, it does about 500 things, magnesium. It's really important. And I've been recommending magnesium since the cows came home, a long time ago. And I particularly like magnesium citrate and biglycinate. When you see the word ATE at the end, it's been chelated. It's ready to be fully absorbed. That's why I like it. Okay? I like the chelated form of magnesium in terms of a supplement. But again, you need to have a good stomach. And if you don't have a good stomach, you need to be taking digestive enzymes. Don't leave home without them. With meals, digestive enzymes, amylase and protease and lipase, and different forms of those. A broad spectrum we call digestive enzyme. And broad spectrum probiotics. They're really important for digestion. They're really important for absorption. Okay? Those bacteria are on your side. And they really help. Okay? So, I hope that answers your question. And, one of the things they always tell you, well, if you're taking vitamin D as a supplement, you need magnesium to even absorb vitamin D. Well, not if you get it from the sun. But, it won't be long. Like we've had quite the summer here in Northern Ontario, and it continues on. I mean, it's been, September usually is when I start vitamin D up again. And, taking higher doses of vitamin D. But we've had so much sun, it's incredible. That's why I'm wearing my shirt today. The sun. Okay. I like that question. Joanne, thank you. Red. What does Dr. Martin think of C15 essential fatty acid? The first essential fatty acid discovered in the past 90 years. Well, I love fatty acids. Okay? I love fatty acids. And, I studied essential fatty acid 15, C15. Well, look, I love fatty acids. So any way you take them, good. You need them. Essential fatty acids. Okay? Now, red, for me, I like, because of my biochemistry background, okay, I like long chain fatty acids, okay? You have, I like fatty acids especially from the animal kingdom, okay? Fish, eggs, meat, okay, steak. And the reason is, okay, because your body absorbs the longer chain. So EPA is like this, okay? But DHA is like this. Wide, longer chain fatty acid. The longer that chain is, the more absorbed it is. Now, C15 is a good fatty acid. Anything that comes out of the plant kingdom that gives you essential fatty acids, good for them. I like them. But when you get EPA, that is a longer chain fatty acid. And then DHA is the longest chain fatty acid, and that's the one that's absorbed the best. Plus, your brain's made up of DHA. Okay? Fathead? Red, are you a fathead? It's a compliment. I love essential fatty acids. Put them all on the table. I like all of them. But again, it's the absorption of them that's the key. And that's why you hear me repeat. Long chain fatty acid, DHA. There's nothing better. It's the best. It's at the top of the food chain. It's what your body is made up of. And you want to be replacing that. Okay, thanks, Red. Very, very good question. And Jean is saying, I'm having balance issues. And she felt better when she was taking our multi-nutrient, used to be called Blood Boost. Yeah, a lot of people love that stuff. Okay? That started out, by the way, the Blood Boost was in my office. People would come into my office, I'm talking years ago, and they looked like Casper the Ghost. I didn't even have to take their blood work at first. Just observe. I said, man, oh man, you're anemic. Oh no, my doctor says I'm not. Yeah, well, you really are. And you're sucking for air. And you're lightheaded. Are you? Yeah, kind of lightheaded, doc. I get up fast too and I'm lightheaded or whatever. I said, well, your red blood cells are there, but they're not carrying a lot of oxygen. Your hemoglobin, even though it's within normal limits, you're really just sucking for air. I'm tired, doc. I go up a flight of stairs. I'm short of breath, and I can get lightheaded. I'm sort of dizzy, you know. And you don't have real vertigo, but you're sort of in betwixt there, you know, in between that. And I used to see it in the office all the time. And I mean, when I was a guy looking at red blood cells. And then I say, well, you got red blood cells, and a lot of them were large, okay? And large, you know, larger is not better when it comes to red blood cells. Okay? You would think, oh, they're large. Well, they're carrying a lot of, no, they actually carry less oxygen. But I never relied on the, you know, the labs so much. Not that I didn't look at them. But these people were walking around. Usually they had low B12. They didn't know it. And, oh, doc, my B12 is normal. I don't want your B12 to be normal. I want your B12 to be optimal. I want, you can't have good blood. I mean this, guys. You can't have good blood unless your B12 is optimized. It needs to be between 800 and 1200, your B12. People are sitting at 200 and they're told that their B12 is normal. They wouldn't even think of it. But one of the biggest problems today is we don't eat enough steak. We don't eat enough red meat. We just don't. And then a lot of people, as we talked about earlier, have digestive issues. They can't even absorb. They're missing the intrinsic factor to even absorb B12. So if you're in that area and you're talking about balance issues, I usually found that these people had deficiencies in their blood. And it was amazing when I put them on B12 and put them on Blood Boost, now called multi-nutrient. Could they make me change the name? And, okay, I don't want to get a migraine. I don't want to get upset. But when people are walking around and they're borderline anemic. It's so common, you have no idea. And when your energy levels are not up to snuff, that's usually a big issue. That's why we can hardly, and let me just say something about multi-nutrient, okay? Formerly Blood Boost. It's hard to keep in stock because they... My formula is hard to make. Like it really is. And we need all the ingredients. Every one of them. It's hard to get. Okay? But I won't compromise. I'm not going to compromise. I'm not changing it. People get results with that product. But it's usually because their blood is low. It's in the lower end. It may be normal, but it's in the lower end of normal. Thank you for the, hold on, let me see. Yeah, Gene is saying ever since it's sold out. Guys, I can only do what I can do. I can only do what I can do. I'm finicky. I want my products the way we formulated them. And that's it, and that's all. It can create problems at the manufacturing level, but what can I tell you? Okay. Thanks, Gene. Joy. What clears microcalcifications from breast tissue? Well, listen. Okay? Joy, listen. I've talked about this a lot. Okay? I talked about this a lot more than people realize. I talk about the calcifications or the formation of oxalates in breast tissue. And one of the things that has been said over the years in terms of research is that usually when you find breast cancer, you find oxalates. They go, I don't know if it necessarily goes hand in hand, but calcification or oxalate, that's what that calcification is. It's oxalate. They're little glass. And here's me. Okay? Here's me. I know this is controversial, but it won't be the first time you've heard it, and it won't be the last. We have a complete generation that has turned the food pyramid upside down. They put plants on top and the animal kingdom on the bottom of the food pyramid. Okay? They I shouldn't say top to bottom because top is like this, bottom is what? Okay? But you know what I mean. They've turned the food pyramid upside down. Animal foods, get away from that. The best foods are salad. You see a salad, and we've been taught, a whole generation or two has been taught salads a whole lot healthier than meat, than eggs, than dairy. Okay? Salad. And I'm not against eating. You like salad, ladies? Men? You like salad? Okay. You can have a salad. I mean it. You want to have a salad? Have a salad. But here's what I've always said. Don't live on it. Because it's not true. And one of the side effects of living on the plant kingdom are oxalates. Glass. They're called anti-nutrients. And they're found in the plant kingdom. Now listen, I'm not telling you can't have any. I'm not. For 30 days on the reset, yes, but that's only 30 days. So if you can suck it up for 30 days and not have a salad, you're going to help yourself. So whenever I got a breast cancer patient, and they had calcification, almost always they did. There's 3 things I would tell them, more than 3. I'm thinking 3 things right away in terms of breast cancer, but here's my protocol. It was always the same. Okay? And guys, prostate cancer, the same. What do I do? Okay? Number 1, numero uno, up your levels of vitamin D. The sun. And if you need to supplement with vitamin D and K2. Because, you see, where is K2 found? You guys know this. Where is it found? Is it found in the plant kingdom or the animal kingdom? Vitamin K2. I'm not talking about K1. I'm talking about K2. Where is it found? Animal or plant? Okay? That's an important question. Gary, butter. Yeah. Animal. Kathy, animal. Tina, butter. Yeah. And Sandy, yep. And all of you guys, Cheryl, you got it. Janice, yep. Okay. Joanne, yep. You got it. Cecilia, yep. Tina, okay. 2 more. John, yep. Kevin, yep. Okay. You all got it right. Vitamin K2 takes calcium, okay, calcification, and takes it out of the bloodstream, out of breast tissue, and puts it back in bones where it belongs. Vitamin K2 is found only in the animal kingdom. Butter, eggs, meat. Okay? Now I'm going to bring you back to the Creator. Okay? The Creator, God, put vitamin K2 with calcium. Okay? With calcium. So when you're eating calcium in cheese, everybody knows there's calcium in cheese. Everybody knows there's calcium in butter. Maybe some people don't know there's calcium in steak, but there is. But in nature, calcium is always, or should be found, with vitamin K2 in it. Why? To put calcium where it belongs. Calcium don't belong in your breast tissue, ladies. Calcium don't belong in your prostate, men. Calcium doesn't belong in your blood. A little bit. Calcium belongs in your bones. And nature knows that. Your Creator created you to eat animal foods. Anybody tells you not to eat animal foods. Run, Forrest, run. I know they say it, and I know that's taken over, and I know the agenda, and I understand it. I got taught by the same gurus. Animal kingdom is acidic. When you eat steak, it's acidic. And it'll change your pH and make you sick. I got taught like that. I had to undo it because I knew it wasn't true. I knew it before I went to school that it wasn't true. And that's the truth. But in order to pass, in order to get a degree in nutrition, I got a PhD in nutrition. I had to follow, you just didn't want to rub them the wrong way because they happened to mark your test. But I knew it was wrong. I knew it was wrong. Back to breast cancer. One of the biggest reasons there's so much cancer, and I know it's sugar, and I know it's insulin, and I know it's estrogen. I know all that. And I've been talking, lower that insulin and lower your estrogen, men and women, and lay off living off the plant kingdom. You weren't meant to. And you're going to get oxalates and you're going to get calcium not in the right place. And get vitamin D. Because I don't care what kind of cancer you got, any testing they've ever done on 99.9% of the population is when they get cancer, they're low in vitamin D. It's almost invariable. Why do I talk about it all the time? Because that's the facts. And don't wait, don't hold your breath for mainstream medicine to agree with us. Don't hold your breath, guys. It's a vitamin, so, and because they know nothing about nutrition, I guess the pH, in cancer, the pH. Nah, guys. Nah. I've taught you about pH. Your pH in your blood is so tightly regulated. It's so tightly regulated. And your body knows how to buffer. Your body makes baking soda. How do you like that? Sodium bicarbonate. You got baking soda. Your body has it. Oh, I get uptight. Okay. Vitamin D. Lay off the sugars. Lay off eating all those plants as if you were a rabbit or a... Do you know why a rabbit? Because a rabbit has enzymes that you don't have. Okay? A rabbit has enzymes that you don't have. A cow eats grass, so you don't have to. A cow eats salad. Okay? But it's got 4 stomachs. And they have a very high pH, not acidic, a more alkaline pH than you do. You're not a cow. Okay. And you're not a squirrel either. As if you gotta eat nuts and seeds till they're coming out your ears. No. You're not a squirrel or a chipmunk that saves those things for the winter time. And they get fat. Okay. I think I'm done here. Yeah, well, Rick's asking me about... Okay, let me ask... I don't think I answered this, Rick. My lipid panel came back with some higher numbers. My doc has requested I now do a lipoprotein A test. Rick, that just gave me a migraine. I got a migraine. Why? Well, because now they're inventing even more tests for the cholesterol derangement syndrome. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. Rick, show me your triglycerides and show me your HDL. You can show me all the rest, but I want to know what those are. Show me your triglycerides and show me your HDL. And triglycerides better be low and HDL better be high. Better be higher than your triglycerides. And most people are walking around and they got that upside down and they don't know because their doctor hasn't told them that. That's the key to your lipid profile, Rick. Elena, is it possible to have too much vitamin K2? I've never seen a case of it, ever. 50 years, I've never seen one case. I know why you're sick. You took too much vitamin K2. Now, I know vitamin K2 is a fat-soluble vitamin. I understand that. But, I've never seen a case. Like, first of all, who takes a supplement of vitamin K2? I put it in with our vitamin D. It belongs there. But you can't, too much? What's too much? I have never seen it, Elena, ever. I haven't seen a case of it. You would think I would, over all these years of, 100,000 or more patient visits, 10 of thousands of new patients, I would say, I know what's wrong with you. You got too much vitamin K2. Never seen it. And by the way, I want you to eat your vitamin K2. Eat your eggs. Eat your meat. Eat your cheese. Eat it. You'll never get too much vitamin K2. If you take it as a supplement, I'd rather you eat it, but I put the exact amount needed for vitamin D in our vitamin D. Okay, but no, it's a good question. I'm glad you asked it, Elena, because I can answer it. You know, a lot of people might have that question. What about vitamin K2? Can I take too much? No. K1? Maybe. It'll thin your blood too much. Too much salad. Okay. I'm glad I looked, because I was going to say, I'm done here. Judy. A different Judy. There are two Judys. I don't even know if I answered the first Judy. What does Dr. Martin think of 125-pound leg press machine exercise? You know what, Judy, I should have looked it up. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. I love leg presses. I love anything that you're going to build your muscle in your legs. You know me and muscle. Muscle is an endocrine organ. The more they study muscle, the more we look at muscle, the more we realize, holy moly, is that ever important, especially in this day and age of 93% of the population having trouble with metabolic syndrome. Muscle are bins, a place to store energy. And we don't have enough bins. And if you don't have enough bins, your body's got to store that glucose. And you know what it'll do? It will choose the liver. And when the liver is full of fat, your body, most people they have an unlimited amount of fat cells that they can make. You don't want that. You don't want your body making fat cells. That's why muscle is an important metabolic factor. So if you got leg press machine, exactly, you must be talking about something specific. I don't know what it is. I'll look it up after. Good for you. I love it. Get your legs strong. Okay? Get anything you can. Get stronger. Even gripping. Get stronger. It's so important metabolically for you. Okay? And Judy, I think I'm done now. This is another, Judy. I've been doing the EMC for 2 years and my ferritin is low according to my doctor. Why would that be? You're weird, Judy. I had to say it. No, Judy, listen. Okay? Because it's not just based on what you eat. Your ferritin, you might not be absorbing iron properly. I would have you on my blood boost, my multi-nutrient, because multi-nutrient is designed for low blood. It's designed for that. Okay? And it's those multi-nutrients that just build up blood. So have a look at that, Judy. You might have trouble with absorption. You might have, digestive issues. You might not be breaking or absorbing your food down properly. There's a lot of issues there. Okay. Guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate it as always. And sometimes I get a little sarcastic, and don't take it personally, okay? Because it's just the way I am. I'm a big tease. I grew up in a family of 11 kids. You had to have a thick skin. Okay? I was telling my grandchildren yesterday, my older brothers used to beat the stuffing out of me every day. And then tease me too. You just had to develop a thick skin. Okay? Okay, guys, we love you dearly. We'll talk to you soon.